Hi guys, this is part 2 in making a scrolling platformer game in Scratch. So if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to check it out. Link is on the description below. So in this video I'll be showing you how to code the spikes and how to code the water, the BG and even the clouds. So in part 1 I showed you how to code our player, our red runner, the platforms, the BG. So let's start coding. So first I'll be showing you how to code our backdrops. So click on backdrops. So there are 5 backdrops. We have this menu backdrop and our spring, the autumn, winter and the graveyard. So there are 4 levels, so we need to change these backdrops according to levels. So click on code and when green flag click, grab a switch costume to, we need to switch costume to BG1, which is this. So forever, grab a if statement and a greater than, click on variables and grab a player X. So if player X is greater than 4450, then duplicate this, switch backdrop to BG2. So if our player X is greater than 4450, it will switch to this costume. So what do this 4450 means? To find out, click on make a variable and make a variable called mouse and then click on events. When key pressed, we need to grab set mouse to, we need to set mouse, grab a join and another join and grab a plus operator, a space, comma, space and click on sensing join mouse X plus player X and the comma and we need to join mouse Y plus Y. And then click on variables and then we need to show variable mouse. So this code is to find our position. For like example, so the value I entered here is 4450. So this means that if our player X is greater than 4450, then it will switch costume to this, which means our autumn level. So to find out the position, you need to keep your mouse pointer where you need to find and then press M. And then you will get like this. So 4499. So this is our X position with some decimal numbers. So you could ignore those decimal numbers. And we got the comma and then negative 95, which means our Y position. So I entered the value 4450, which means like here. Okay, it's exactly here. So you could keep your mouse pointer anywhere and press M to find the position. So this is really important to find the positions to add our water spikes, checkpoints. So if we need a spike here, you could press M and then enter these values. So that's how you find the values. Duplicate. If player X is greater than 7910, which means our third level, the winter, we need to switch costume to backdrop 1, which is our winter backdrop. So duplicate, and if our player X is greater than 11,248, then we need to switch costume to BG, which is the graveyard level. And if player X is greater than 14,627, then we need to switch costume to BG1. So that's our U1. So we need to switch costume to, we need to switch backdrop to this backdrop. So duplicate this and place it here. And if our player X is greater than 0, then we need to switch costume to BG1, which is this. So now let's test whether it's working. So now you can see we got the autumn background, and if we return, we'll get the original spring background. And we got the winter backdrop. And if we return, we get the autumn. And you could see we also got obstacles like those boxes and ice cubes. And now you can see we got this spooky graveyard backdrop. And then you will switch this backdrop to you win. So our backdrop code works. So click on the water sprite, and there are 18 costumes with our costume 2, and we got the water animation costumes from costume number 2 to costume number 18. So click on events. When green flag click, we need to go to back player, and then we need to fight. And when green flag click, we need to switch costume to image 1, and then we need to make two new variables called water X for all sprites, and another variable called water Y for all sprites. So this is to enter our X and Y positions of the water. So grab this set water X, duplicate, set water Y to 0. So create clone of myself, and then grab this weight block. So we need to wait like 0.0000001 second, so it's a really small amount. So now we need to find these positions where we need to add our water. So for that, you could run your game, and then you need to find the position where you need to add water. So I need to add water here. So you could keep your mouse pointer where you want, like here, and press M, and then you will get this position. So it's X 753 and y negative 164. So these all positions could not be accurate. So my first position is 779 and y negative 190. So if you are using my platformer, the y value is 190 always. So for now we just add one clone of water, and when green flag clicked, we need to make a variable called costumes for all sprites, and then we need to set costumes to 2 and grab a forever loop, and we need to change costumes by 1 and grab an if statement. So if costumes equals 18, then we need to set costumes to 2. So this is for our animation. So we will set costumes to 2, which is this, and if it's 18, we will set to 2. So now let's make another two variables for wx for all sprites and wy for all sprites. So w means water. So when I start as a clone, we need to set water x to and duplicate set water y to wy, and then we need to show, and then click on my blocks and make a block called set x to x and a label set y at an input called y, and then click OK. So we need to set x to wx and set y to wy. So this should change. We need to set wx and wy to water x and water y. So make sure you fix it, and then let's define this block. So we need to go to back player and grab this control forever if else. So grab a O, grab greater than. So if our player X is greater than, grab a minus X minus 960, or duplicate if our player X is lesser than X minus 960. Then we need to switch costume to costume 2. Then grab this, go to X and Y. We need to go to YY and grab the minus operator and a plus and again and minus. So it's 0 minus player X plus 0 minus X. Then we need to switch costume to costume, and then we need to show. So else we need to hide. So okay, now let's test our game. So now you can see our water appear. So we just have one clone for now. So now let's add the other positions. So I have added all the other positions of the water. So make sure you add them. You could just duplicate this and just change the water X values. So 965, 2680. And after you have added the positions, now you can see our water is working. So you could see that our water appears and we got the water animation as well. So now you see if we fall on water, nothing happens until we touch the edge. So click on display sprite. So you get this if negative 179 is greater than Y position. Grab operator's O and place it here, touching water. So grab this here, touching water. And now when you run your game, now you can see if our player falls on water, our player dies and respawns to the original position. So our water works. So for that, click on spikes. So there are three costumes. This green one, we got the spike, and we got this ice crystal for winter level. And when green flag click, we need to go to back player, and then we need to hide. So it's just same like the water. So when green flag click, we need to switch costume to spike left down, and then make two new variables called spike x and spike y. And then we need to set spike x and spike y, and then we need to create clone of myself. Spike 0 point, just add some zeros and 1. And it's just like finding the water. You could keep the mouse pointer where you need to place a spike and then press M, and then you will get the X and Y position. So my first spike is on negative 170 and negative 190. So the Y value changes according to the height of the platforms. Like grab this when I start as a clone block, we need to switch costume to spikes left down. So forever, grab a if statement. So grab a O So if our player X is greater than 0 or is equal to 0, then we need to switch costume to spikes and duplicate and just remove this code. So if our player X is greater than 7910, then we need to switch costume to costume 1 and again duplicate. So if our player X is greater than 11,248, we need to switch costume to spike. So if our level is winter, it will switch costume to the ice crystal, else it will switch costume to this spike. So then grab when I start as a clone block and make two new variable called xs and sy for all sprites. So spike x and spike y. So we need to set sx and sy to spikes x and spikes y. Then we need to show and click on my block and make a block called set x at an input x, set y at an input called y. So we need to set x to sx and set y to sy. And then let's define this block. So we need to go to black layer, and then go backward 50 layers and forever grab a if else statement. So grab a O and a greater than a minus operator. So if our player X is greater than X minus 960, O duplicate and change these two, and then we need to switch costume to costume 1. When you switch costume to costume 2, grab this, go to X and Y. We need to go to Y and minus, duplicate, plus, and duplicate and minus. So it's 0 minus player X plus 0 minus X. And then we need to switch costume to spike. And then we need to show. Else we need to hide. So okay, now let's test our game. And now you can see we have a spike here, just one spike. So let's add our other spikes values. So okay, I have added all the positions of the spikes. So make sure you duplicate and change the X and Y positions. and Y position in the starter project as well. So now let's test our game. So now you can see our spikes appear at the correct positions. And you could see nothing happens when we touch the spikes. So that's because we can't play it and duplicate this O. And if O touching spikes, so now click on the green flag again, and now you can see if our player touches the spikes, our player respawns. So to change our costumes in the winter platform, we could make a new variable called SC for our sprites. And then when I start as a clone block, at first we need to set SC to 2, and then SC to 3, and then SC to 2. And on this define block, we need to switch costume to SC. So now you can see if our player touches the spike, our player dies and respawns to us in a position. To see all the spikes that appear. So now you can see our spikes have changed into ice crystals. And again it changes into normal spikes. So the spikes works. So that's it for this video. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a like. And if you want to get more updates from this channel, make sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon. And if you find this video useful or interesting, make sure to share it with your friends. So in part 3, I'll be showing you how to code the checkpoints, the clouds, and many more. So see you with another awesome Scratch tutorial.